Hey guys, Bubba here with the Bubba News, all in one word, all in one news. I figured I would start tonight off, and we'll just start this while I ramble for a few minutes, where we left off last night. But tonight I'm calling this, what did I call it? It's with Hamas. Yeah, they still don't get the hint. And we're going to get to that, but the reason I'm showing this at the beginning too, the B-2 bombers, is because we do have 7 of them now in Diego Garcia, and we'll go over that here in a little bit as well. But, guys, it's crazy town. The things that are going on and some of the things I'm going to cover in the news relating to Israel and the Temple Mount could get kind of squirrely. So without further ado, let's get going. This is how we started off this morning. The answer to all your problems are in here. It looks like an old school Holy Bible there in the picture. We need to take it off the shelf, even though it may be old or donated to us from our parents or grandparents, and dig in because it's getting crazy town exciting. I'm going to start off with a little clown news of the day. Remember yesterday when they had the CENTCOM a year ago, the Atlantic's magazine, the editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, when he revealed the sensitive details, including exact targets and timings, originally shared by Defense Secretary Hegseth on the Signal app platform. Well, here's what he released today. I mean, this is giving you time frames. It's giving you, but, it's not showing you actual plans. It is, but it isn't. So I don't know if these guys are going to get released from position or not. But you know what? It could lead to the dismissal of Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz, and possibly even the Pentagon chief, Pete Hegseth here. But I personally don't believe that these guys are going to be fired or replaced by Trump. They might replace Alex Wong, this guy. He's the newly named deputy national security advisor to Trump. But Alex Wong is also the person who supposedly added the journalist from the Atlantic to the Signal group chat. Alex Wong was an attorney for Covington and Burling, one of the law firms that Trump included in his executive orders about government contracts and security clearances. How ironic. Doesn't this just sound like the movie Idiocracy, politics style? This is nuts. But anyway, let's keep going to the Middle East because we're going to talk about Hamas. And the past couple of days have been having all those protests. Well, they had another one today. And there's a lot of people that are starting to say that this is not actually the people that are doing this to protest against Hamas in Gaza. This is actually being stirred up by Hamas to go out and to do this. But if that's the case, then that's basically like crying wolf. Because Israel came out today and said that they estimate that they still have about 2 months left worth of food. So we'll see. But yeah, Israel Katz called on the Gazans to join in the protest and demand the expulsion of Hamas. He called on the Gazans to continue opposing Hamas in protest today, saying that it's the only way to stop the war. He said the IDF will soon operate in force in additional areas of Gaza, and you will be required to evacuate for your protection from these combat zones. The plans have already been approved, and the Israeli military will continue to destroy more and more Gazan territory, he said. So the demonstrations against Hamas and Gaza, they're basically an opportunity for these guys. I mean, it's taking courage for them to come out and voice their opinion. And there's calls that the rest of the Arab world should join them in their plight for getting Hamas out. But I have a feeling that this is all being staged by Hamas. And these people are being paid to go and protest. But this is interesting. Gazans won out, of course. And over 100 Gazans left and flew to Indonesia on Tuesday to work in the construction sector. And this was facilitated by the IDF coordinator of government activities in the territories. So there's this pilot project going on. And it's orchestrated by Major General Ghassan Alian, the coordinator of government activities in the territories, and he aims to pave the way for a much larger scale voluntary migration. So this project required delicate negotiations with Indonesia, and watch Indonesia in the next few weeks and months because they're a big part of this two-state solution plan and the peace plan and the Temple Mount and with what's coming. Indonesia, just remember that. But Israel doesn't have official diplomatic relations with Indonesia, of all things. But Indonesia has the most people in it, the most Islam in the world. So they want this first phase to be the 100 people. For example, recent figures show that 1,000 residents have left Gaza since the beginning of the month. Another 600 departures from Gaza are planned this week alone. And since the beginning of the conflict, about 35,000 Gazans have permanently left the region, is what they're saying. So, I won't keep you guys bored with this because I was switching to Iran, talking about, can Israel penetrate Iran's defense systems? Yes, they can. But each one of these red circles, and you'll see them down here, those are the S-300 air defense systems. And they've got the Hordad air defense, the SA-22, but the Bavar 373, they're in the big black circles. Those are the ones to really pay attention to. So Iran, the attack is going to come eventually on Iran. And we're going to talk about the B-2 bombers here in a minute too. But, the Bavar 373 with all the black circles, that thing is pretty amazing. And Israel's already destroyed some of their S-300s that you see in the red circles. So Israel basically let Iran know back in April and back in October of 2024 when they each time took out an S-300 defense system. Basically, they said, your airspace is vulnerable, Iran. So that's the, and Israel knows all the locations of the Iranian S-300s. And the Israeli fighter jets could avoid entering their kill zone, conducting attacks beyond the S-300's reach. Because they can actually fire and shoot this thing and blow this thing up before it can even detect Israel. So, but yeah, the Bavar 373 is Iran's upgraded version of the S-300. I mean, Iran has one of the best protected airspaces in the region. I mean, and they're ready for Israel. But, even with Israel's F-35 stealth fighters, they're mostly undetectable by Iran. But, there's going to be crippling damage to the Iranian assets when Israel's done with them. And a stealth fighter carrying too many bombs, especially if one's underneath it, like an F-35, it changes its geometrical shape, exposing it to radars there in Iran. But these air defense systems are highly vulnerable themselves because they rely on radar, which broadcasts waves into the airspace in search of the incoming jets. But check it out. The moment that an Iranian defense system turns on its radar, it exposes its location, which then Israeli fighter jets can then destroy it from a great distance. So does Iran have the capability of protecting or defending itself from the U.S. B-2 stealth bombers? They're going to struggle to detect the B-2 bombers due to their stealth technology, but detection might occur at close range, but, experts are debating if they can be found or not. But anyway, let's keep going because I get too nerdy on this war stuff. But the Israeli Defense Establishment estimates that food, water, and fuel will run out in the Gaza Strip in about 2 months. Basically by the end of May, which I find really interesting because you have that big June 2 to 4 time frame with the state of Israel versus and coming together with the state of Palestine. So oh, yeah. Let's just keep going. I just had a brain fart there. Forgive me, guys. I'm just thinking about the Islamic Republic of Iran. They've now... Check this out. I'm going to scroll in here. The Islamic Republic of Iran is expanding its nuclear program. This came out today. So now Tehran has reduced the time required to produce significant weapons-grade uranium for a nuclear device from 10 to 15 days to now less than 1 week. So, yeah, we might be going to war with Iran soon. And this came out from the United States Strategic Command today. So that's the U.S. Stratcom. And now we're going to get to the B-2s. Yeah. See them up there in the red box? There's 3 of them. And then the other 4 are there in those hangars. So the U.S. has now moved 7 of them to Diego Garcia Air Base. And as we see 3 on the outside. There's 4 inside. But, they've got 9 KC-135 Strato tankers on the left-hand side, the lower left-hand corner. these refueling tankers. We've got all these C-17s that have been bringing in all kinds of weapons and defenses. So it wouldn't surprise me here in the next few days, since the Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, he's meeting and traveling in Asia. Hawaii today, he's going to Guam next, and I think the Philippines and stuff like that. So that's going on. And once again, earlier today, Islamic Jihad took responsibility for Gaza rocket fire, and it targeted the Hatsarim Air Base near Beersheba. So they fired off rockets at the Hatsarim Air Base. The IDF spokesman in Arabic issues an evacuation notice for all of southern Gaza there in that red area to move south. Check this out, though. Israel intends to intensify action in Gaza without significantly expanding its ground operations for now, Con News is reporting. In other words, this is still a very gradual approach. There's no full-scale war yet. Israeli defense officials estimate that Hamas still has a few dozen rockets with a range of about 45 kilometers or 28 miles. So Israel's basically going to wait a few weeks to see if pressure on Hamas is working before launching a large-scale operation into Gaza. So Israel continues its attacks on Lebanon and Syria. This happened tonight. It was an enemy drone strike on a car in Tyre. Tyre, and that's a biblical term. The inhabitants of Tyre. Right there, Psalm 83, verse 6, just for one example. But this was another targeted taking out of someone. Assassination, no doubt. And but check this out. Tonight, Israel's new message to Hamas is release the hostages or Gaza will be annexed. This is a different approach because Israel's not bluffing either. And the Washington Post had a blurb saying a very hot 48 hours are expected in the Middle East. So that's going on with Lebanon. We're going to talk about Israel's bombing in Syria here in a minute. But this came out too today. Europe is being prepared for survival. Residents of the European Union. Oh my goodness gracious. These people, see what happens when I try to do a screen recording? All these people keep bugging me. I tell you what. Rapturehead 777. I'll text you in a minute when I'm done with the recording. Oh, you guys get to see the fun side of Bubba. Yeah, no, I love it when you guys text me and stuff. But yeah, the European Commission recommends that residents of the European Union stock up on food and water in case of a crisis. So today, the EC released their new preparedness union strategy, and they're urging residents of the EU countries to take care of food, water, medicines, and batteries in advance. This is necessary so that people can survive on their own for 72 hours during a crisis. So I pose a question. I wonder what crisis the European Union is actually expecting. The strategy emphasizes that Europe needs to prepare for serious problems. The problems include the risk of military aggression against EU member states. And forgive me for segueing here, but I found this. This is wild. Can you imagine getting checked into a hospital and communicating with an intelligent avatar or an AI agent and not a real human being? Well, this is Roy Kelleher from NVIDIA, and he shares his vision of an Agenda 2030 AI-enabled hospital coming to a town near you. He goes on to say that information is collected through an ambient experience and entered into the electronic health record.
Imagine if you walk into a hospital and you're first greeted by an intelligent avatar or agent that helps navigate you through the hospital to where you're going, has the contextual awareness of why you're there in the first place. And then when you're actually in the exam room, imagine the doctor is turned facing you, having a meaningful conversation with you. That information is collected through an ambient experience and entered into the electronic health record. Imagine if you
Did you catch that? The electronic health record. Sounds very Revelation 13-ish to me, getting there. But yeah, that's why I did this tonight. They still don't get the hint. And I said, this won't be good for the Temple Mount security this weekend. It's the last weekend of Ramadan. Because the Hamas statement came out tonight and said that Hamas calls on the people of the Islamic nations and the free peoples of the world to mobilize on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in defense of Gaza and Jerusalem and in support of the Palestinian people. They still don't get the hint. Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, and Iran basically all see the writing on the wall. Hamas is all but finished, and the only ones who don't seem to realize that is Hamas themselves. We've got new Israeli leadership in the military, we've got a new Israeli strategy, and better intelligence all contributed to this new IDF in Gaza. But the most critical change is that Hamas has finally lost their BFF, their best friend forever, Joe Biden. The IDF we are seeing in action today is different from the IDF that we saw in Gaza ever since October 7th. This improved IDF reminds me of the IDF that dismantled Hezbollah in less than 2 months by using AI. And the same usage of this AI is now going on in Gaza. The Israelis have gotten really good at their intel, and it continues to get better because they continue to take out Hamas's top leadership currently. And the Israeli fighting really hasn't even begun yet. But with Hamas putting out their call for the free world and the Islamic nations to unite, today the Quds Force commander Esmail Khani made a statement to the United States, but especially to Israel from Iran. This guy. Iran's steadfastness and perseverance will continue until the ultimate goal is achieved, which is the liberation of Holy Jerusalem. In other words, he wants to free Jerusalem from the Jews and allow the Arabs to take over Jerusalem and everything. He's openly saying that Iran will not rest until Israel is destroyed. I said, this sure reminds me of Psalm 83, verse 4, where the verse says, they have said, come and let us wipe them out as a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more. Why do they want this? They want to liberate Jerusalem, quote unquote, to take over their land. That includes Jerusalem. Psalm 83 verse 12 says, who said, let us possess for ourselves the pastures of God? These guys that want to take over Israel and wipe them out as a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more, they don't want an Israeli state. They want a Palestine state, and they want to take over their land and possess for ourselves the pastures of God. But that will not happen. Psalm 132, verse 13 says, for the Lord has chosen Zion, Jerusalem. He has desired it for his habitation. For the Lord has chosen Zion, for he has destined it for his habitation. Not the Arabs, for God, Yahweh, not Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah, his habitation. If Iran wants to control the capital of Israel and the Temple Mount, then maybe it's time that Israel dismantles their mosque and their Golden Dome. But here's what I'm talking about. Tonight, Israel continued its bombings and targeted attacks in Lebanon and Syria. Tonight, Israeli warplanes conducted large strikes on Al-Bayad port in the 110th Brigade in Latakia, Syria.
Allahu Akbar.
So that went on tonight. Oh, man, it's just getting crazy. I'm getting ready to wrap this up for you guys. Here's tonight. 200,000 Arabs prayed at the Al-Aqsa Mosque today on the Temple Mount. And overall, and compared to previous years, it has been way, way too quiet with violence or anything going on at the Temple Mount. So I said we'll have to keep an eye on this weekend as the Hamas call out for Arabs to unite could take an ugly turn in the next few days on the Temple Mount. We have not heard the words violence or instability in this year at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, but that could change in a hurry because they still want to take over Israel. They still want to take over Jerusalem, and they definitely want to take over their Al-Aqsa Mosque and their Temple Mount. This is their pride and joy. This is why Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia wants normalization with Israel and why he wants to be a huge part of this whole two-state solution. And they want to have this done and implemented before the June 2nd through the 4th United Nations Peace Conference in New York City. So we'll see what's going on because he wants custodianship of the Temple Mount because he already has Mecca and Medina, but he wants now custodianship over the Temple Mount. And maybe the only way to get the Jews to sign on to a peace agreement with someone for 7 years that includes the brand new state of Palestine living next to them, and to promise Israel peace and safety, might be someone who says, I will allow you to build your third temple if you give me access to the Temple Mount and allow me to protect you. So we've got a lot of things coming up, guys, but these are some of the stories I want to throw out to you guys tonight. Let me know in the comments below what I can do for you guys, how I can be a blessing to you. Only by the grace of God go I. But thank you all for being here. Thanks you so much for watching. And ask me any questions. My phone number, text, email, all that kind of good stuff is in the description box below. So, oh, and last thing, I've noticed a couple of you have donated on the Give Syndigo and PayPal. I just wanted to say thank you. You guys have been a true blessing to me. And I saw, forgive me for forgetting your name, but I saw someone did a very nice super comment now, I guess you can do. You know how they have super chats and live streams and super stickers. I guess you can do super comments. So that kind of threw me, but I saw that on a video from, oh, the Bible is just screaming out. That one, yeah, from a couple days ago, earlier in the week, last week. Man, guys, time is just going by so fast now. But we've got to stay plugged into Jesus, and we've got to keep our eyes focused on him. And each day, guys, when we get up, ask the Lord just to take your day and just to direct it and for his name to be glorified, because very soon we are going to hear that trumpet sound and we will be going home. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Maranatha, and we'll talk to you soon.